think we are live now. So let me quickly share the screen and then we will go through the agenda. Now, just before, starting, I mean, I'm really not getting any time because of my office schedule to, prepare PPTs further. So I'll try maybe, whenever I'm ready with some slides, I will share it with all of you. But right now it's on pause. So maybe this session also will go in non-PPT mode. So yeah, regarding today's agenda, so we will be covering chapter 24 to 28, chapter 1 verses 24 to 28. And all these 5 verses are very important ones in the sense that there are a lot of good learnings in almost all of them. Okay, so please try to hear very intently, and the lessons which we are going to take away from these verses can have a lasting effect on our lives if we are able to implement them in our lives. Okay, so it's very important. And then as usual, I want to dedicate this session first of all to my spiritual master, His Holiness Jayapataga Swami Maharaj, Srila Guru Maharaj ki Jai. And I also want to dedicate this session to the founder Acharya of ISKCON, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Whatever I am going to speak, I'll merely repeat what I have heard in the lectures of Srila Prabhupada. I'll merely repeat what I have read in the books of Srila Prabhupada. And I will merely repeat what I have learned from my Siksha Gurus and the Guru Parampara of ISKCON. So this is the agenda for today. We will go ahead with Mangala Charan first. We'll invoke some pranam mantras to invoke auspiciousness, and then we'll discuss the shlokas 24 to 28. And after that, obviously, the question and answers will always be there. Or you all can share your realizations also, which points you liked, which are the takeaways, key takeaways from this session, and what would you like to implement in your lives after this. And yes, I think just note down all your queries in between. We will take it towards the end. The request. Okay, so just give me a moment. Yeah. So how many of you will be able to read today? Can you just raise your hands and give me an indication? Okay, Ivana Mataji is there. Ishita Mataji is there. Wow, we have a good attendance today. Welcome Niti Mataji and Sakshi Mataji. After a long time, Sakshi Mataji has been attending, but Niti Mataji, really good to see you after such a long time. Please try coming regularly to these sessions.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we have a lot of people. I think 4 have confirmed. Shyam Sundar, Sridevi Mataji, and Shweta Mataji is there. Nice, nice. I think a lot of people are there. So you can lower your hands now. Okay. So we will start with we'll start with Ishita Mataji. Okay, Lalita Mataji is also raising her hand. That's nice. So we'll start with Ishita Mataji, and today the important thing is that we'll also go through the purports, because the essence of all these verses are hidden in the purports basically. So that's what we are going to do. Just please repeat after me, Mataji, and then you can read the translation as well as the purport. The purports are very small for these verses, so that's fine. So verse number 24, it goes like this. Sanjay Vacha एव मुक्तो ऋषिकेशो गुडाकेशेन भारत.
Sanjaya uvacha evam utko ऋषिकेशो गुडाकेशना भारत.
एव मुक्तो ऋषिकेशो सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्.
सेनयोर उभयोर्मध्ये स्थाप्यत्वा रथोत्तमम्.
स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्.
स्थाप्यत्वा रथोत्तमम्.
Thank you. Just give me a second, Mataji. We'll come back. Sorry, I'm back now. Okay, so yes, Mataji, you can read the translation and then the purport.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna blew up the fine chariot in the midst of armies of both parties. The purport says, in this verse, Arjuna is referred to as Gudakesha. Gudaka means sleep, and one who conquers sleep is called Gudakesha. Sleep also means ignorance. So Arjuna conquered both sleep and ignorance because of his friendship with Krishna. As great devotee of Krishna, he could not forget Krishna even for a moment, because that is the nature of a devotee. Either in waking or in sleep, a devotee of Lord Krishna can never be free from thinking of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Thus, a devotee of Krishna can conquer both sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Krishna constantly. This is called Krishna consciousness or Samadhi. As Rishikesha, or the director of the senses and mind of every living entity, Krishna could understand Arjuna's purpose in placing the chariot in the midst of armies. Thus, he did so and spoke as follows.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Yes, so very nice, verse. This is a very nice verse, and some very important learning, from this verse. Like starting off this very first verse gives us a very nice learning. Okay, so two things are very important here. The first is the Rishikesha, the name which is being used for Krishna, and second one is Gudakesha, right? The name which is used for Arjun. Okay. Now, Rishikesha, we saw in the previous verses also that Rishikesha is a word which can be broken down into two parts. Rishik, which means the senses, and Isha means the controller. So Krishna is the controller of the senses of all living entities. Okay, and how many senses are there? So there are 10 senses actually. Okay, in the scientific world, we know that there are only 5 senses, but if you come to the spiritual aspect, or it's a much deeper science, basically spirituality. So there are 10 senses, or rather I would say 11 in total. Okay, how? So 5 are knowledge acquiring senses, which we all know, that are eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. Okay, these are 5 knowledge acquiring senses, and then there are 10 working senses. Okay, working senses are your speech, hands, legs, anus, and rectum. Okay, so these are 10 senses basically, and 11th is on the subtle side, which is the mind. Okay, and in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, out of all the senses, I am the mind. Right. So all of you who are struggling, like we all are struggling, with our disturbed mind, turbulent mind, right? Especially while we are chanting, just pray to Krishna for that. Okay, that because mind actually represents Krishna, we cannot control it. Okay, it's just beyond, simply beyond our control. Just by praying to Krishna that, oh Krishna, please help me to control my mind, bring my mind under control, and so that I'm able to chant nicely, I'm able to focus nicely on my chanting, then Krishna will definitely help us all. Okay, so this is one very important aspect. Now, what we see here is that out of these 10 senses, okay, Arjun used his one sense, that is the sense of speech, and he directed Krishna that, oh Krishna, take my chariot in, between the two armies, right? That we saw in the previous verse, right? So, Senayoru Bhayor Madhye Ratham Sthapitva Mechuta, right? So, what Arjun is saying that take my chariot between the two armies. So, what he's doing, he's actually right? So the most important learning that we can derive from this particular verse is that the controller of all senses, the supreme personality of Lord of Godhead Krishna, right, who is the controller of senses of all the living entities, right? He is willing to get controlled by the senses of his pure devotees, right? Isn't that beautiful and very sweet thing to understand, right? So this servant servitor and served relationship is not same as what we see here in this material world, right? It's very different and very sweet relation. Okay, Krishna is willing to serve his devotee and the devotees are willing to serve Krishna. There is a constant competition going on between the two. So this is a very important learning. Now coming to the name of Arjun that is being used here, it is Gudakesha, right? Like we have seen in the purport that Gudaka means sleep and Isha means controller. That means one who has conquered the sleep, or one who is able to control the sleep. Now, when we hear this particular thing, like it becomes very difficult for us to comprehend that how can someone control the sleep, right? And the answer is given in the purport itself, like Prabhupada has said, that either in waking or in sleep, a devotee of the Lord can never be free from thinking of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Okay? Thus, a devotee of Krishna can conquer both sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Krishna constantly. Okay? So, this is the secret, that if we are able to continuously think about Krishna, right? If we always have the remembrance of Krishna, then we will be able to conquer sleep and ignorance. Sleep actually generally, it also designates ignorance, basically, right? So both sleep and ignorance will be conquered just if we are able to remember Krishna constantly. Okay, a lot of times, this question is asked basically to all of us here in ISKCON, that how to overcome laziness, and especially when people see that we are like waking up in the early in the morning, right, around 3:45, 4 a.m. in the morning, and then doing our japa. We don't even consume tea, coffee, or any other thing which contains caffeine. So there is no question of getting a kick, artificial means of getting a kick, which keeps us going. So people are very surprised that after all this, this kind of routine, how are you guys able to maintain your energy levels throughout the day? So this is the secret, right? The secret is that by remembering Krishna constantly, by always chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we will be easily able to, conquer sleep and laziness. And this is the secret in this age of Kali Yuga. There is no other way to remember Krishna constantly apart from chanting his holy names. Okay, so this is all about this particular verse. Let's move to the next one. I will share my screen again. Okay. Who will go? Ivana Mataji. You can go next, and I will take you to the next verse. Please repeat after me, Mataji, and once we recite the verse, you can read the translation and the purport.
Okay.
Bhishma Drona Pramukhatah
Bhishma Drona Pramukta
Sarvesham Cha Mahikshitam
Sarvesham Cha Madhishtitam
Uvacha Partha Pashyetan
Uvacha Partha Pashyetam
Samvetan Kuruniti.
Samavetan Kuruniti.
You can read the translation, Mataji.
In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, "Just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here." Purport. As the supersoul of all living entities,
Purport.
As the supersoul of all living entities, Lord Krishna could understand what was going on in the mind of Arjuna. The use of the word Rishikesha in the connection indicates that he knew everything, and the word Partha, or the son of Kunti, or Pratha, is also similarly significant in reference to Arjuna. As a friend, he wanted to inform Arjuna that because Arjuna was son of Partha, the sister of his own father Vasudev, he had agreed to be the charioteer of Arjuna. Now, what did Krishna mean when he told Arjuna to behold the Kurus? Did Arjuna want to stop there and not fight? Krishna never expected such things from the son of his aunt Partha. The mind of Arjuna was thus predicted by the Lord in friendly joking.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, so another very important verse and very nice verse. And another good part of the session is that there are several stories also, okay, small stories which I'll be telling. So that will make the things more interesting. Okay. So first of all, again, another name is being used for Arjun, that is Partha. Okay. So Parth is basically son of Pritha. And Pritha, okay. So how did Kunti, come to be known as Pritha? Like, how did she get this name Pritha? Okay, so there is a small story, associated with this verse, um, and it goes something like this: that we all know that Kunti and Vasudev, the father of Lord Krishna, okay, they both were brothers and sisters, okay, and they both were children of King Surasena. Surasena, okay. So Shurasen had two children. One was Pritha and another one was Vasudev. So he had named his daughter as Pritha. And Shurasen's sister's son, okay, Shurasen's sister's son, his name was Kunti Bhoja, and he was childless basically, okay. And these two, they shared a great rapport actually, and uh, because of his childlessness, he was always obviously not very happy. So Shurasen actually gave Pritha to Kunti Bhoj. Okay, and because uh, Pritha was adopted by Kunti Bhoj, so from his name actually Pritha got another name called Kunti. Okay, so this is the small story behind how Kunti came to be known as Pritha. Okay, so another very important aspect in this verse is what Krishna is saying here. That behold, the just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. Okay, so actually in this particular verse, Krishna is like kind of a joking in a joking mood. Okay, with Arjun, and the reason for that is that, see, being the super soul, in all the hearts, right? In Bhagavad Gita, we know that Krishna is seated in the hearts of each and every living entity. Okay. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtati. Okay, so this particular shloka comes in the chapter number 18. And in chapter 15 also, he actually says, that he is seated as Paramatma in everyone's heart. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sanniveshto. Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Okay. So Krishna is there in the hearts of every living entities. He knows actually, what is going on within our minds, inside us and what we are thinking. Okay. So a lot of times, this is one quality which we humans don't have, right? For example, like say, suppose we are going on a road and we meet someone, okay, and externally we just can just smile, give a very broad smile, and oh, I'm meeting you for such a long time. Such a nice to meet you. Such so nice to see you again, right? And inside we might be thinking that why I even came, on this road. Basically, now that I have seen this person, my whole day is spoiled, right? So this is the limitation of this material body. Okay, but Krishna is different. Like he is the Paramatma, he is the super soul in our hearts. He knows everything. Okay, what's going on. So when Arjun asked him to take the chariot between the two armies, at that point itself, or rather earlier than that itself, Krishna was fully aware that what this person is going to do. Okay, that he knew that he is hesitant to fight. He is not, fully convinced, about fighting his own kinsman. Okay, so this is what Krishna knew actually, what's going on within the mind of Arjun, and see, the thing is that there was no, scope for any negotiations or no scope for any compromise that we have seen in the earlier verses, already. That Kauravas, obviously, they were not willing to give an inch of land to the Pandavas. And similarly, like Pandavas, after having tried several ways of compromise, and all the attempts when, they all failed, they ultimately came to a conclusion that there is no other way but to fight it out in the battlefield. Okay. So there was no chance of any compromise. And with that intent, both the armies were, standing face to face on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, right? And at that time, if Arjun says that, okay, Krishna, just take my chariot between the two armies. I want to see who all have come to fight, right? So Krishna actually is indicating in a joking way that, okay, what are you going to do by seeing them, right? You are already on the battlefield, just go and fight, right? So this is the internal or kind of a hidden meaning of this particular verse. So we will go on to the next verse now. And let me see who can read. Okay. Yes, this is another nice verse. And Lalita Mataji, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So just please repeat after me. And once we recite the verse, you can read the translation and the purport.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Tatra pashyatya sthitan partha
Tatra pashyat stithan partha
pitrinath pitamahan
pitrini atha pitamaha
acharyan matulan bhratrin
acharyan matulan bhratrin
putran pautran sakhins tatha
putran pautran sakhin satatha
shashuran suhridaschaiva
swasuran shuradaschava
senayorubhayorapi.
senayor ubhyor api.
You can read the translation, Mataji, and then purport.
Okay, Prabhuji. So there Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, and material uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and all his father-in-law and well-wishers. Purport. On the battlefield, Arjuna could see all kinds of relatives. He could see persons like Bhurishrava, who were his father's contemporaries, grandfathers Bhishma and Somadatta, teachers like Dronacharya and Kripacharya, maternal uncles like Shalya and Shakuni, brothers like Duryodhana,
sons like Lakshmana, friends like Ashwathama, well-wishers like Kritvarma, etc. He could see also the armies which contained many of his friends.
Yes, very nice. This is a very important verse also. Another very nice story associated in this particular verse. So this is again going to be interesting. So we'll go word by word. Okay, so basically in this particular verse, what we come to know that Arjun, when he is looking at the army of Kauravas, he's seeing his contemporaries of his father for Arjun. He's seeing his grandfather, his maternal uncles, his father-in-laws, okay, brothers were standing against him in the battlefield. Now you can just imagine what could have been the mindset of any normal person. Okay, what to speak of Arjun? Like Arjun is obviously a very great warrior, and we'll see that this kind of situation he had faced already, previously as well. But at that time he was not bewildered, and we'll come to know, okay, what happened at that time. But here, uh, just imagine. Just put yourselves into this particular situation and just see, so that it's a very very difficult situation for anyone to comprehend. Okay, so we will just go verse by, line by line, and I'll try to cite some examples. Okay, that who all were there in the battlefield who were against Arjun. Okay, who wanted to fight. So first name which Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport is Bhurishrava. Okay, so Bhurishrava, and he was a son of Somadatta. Okay, so fathers and grandfathers he is mentioning, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport. So Bhurishrava was the contemporary of Pandu. Okay, the father of Arjun. Okay, and he was a ruler in the Kuru dynasty. Okay, and he was killed by Satyaki in the battle. Okay, and he was a son of Somadatta. So Somadatta was like the grandfather of Arjun, and he was also killed by Satyaki. So Satyaki killed both Bhurishrava and Somadatta, father and son, actually. Okay. So other grandfather is obviously Bhishma is there, and then maternal uncles. Okay, so maternal uncles, the names are Shalya and Shakuni, right? So Shakuni, we all know that he was the brother of Gandhari. Gandhari is the wife of Dhritarashtra, so he was the maternal uncle for Arjun. And Shalya, I think some of you might remember. I had told this story of Shalya very early, when we were discussing first 5 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. So just to kind of refresh that, so Shalya was actually brother of Madri. Okay, Madri was the second wife of Pandu. So Pandu had 2 wives. One was Kunti and one was Madri. Okay, and Nakul and Sahadev were actually sons of Madri. Okay, so Shalya was the brother of Madri, and actually he was coming to fight for Pandavas. Okay, and Maharaj Yudhishthir had just called him and requested his support in the battlefield, in the battle of Kurukshetra. And Shalya was determined to fight for Maharaj Yudhishthir. And what happened at that time is Duryodhan very tactfully, he actually arranged very nice facilities, for him actually. And when uh, when Shalya saw those facilities, he was very, very impressed, and all the ministers of Duryodhan were actually encouraging him that, okay, yes, please go ahead and use these facilities. These all are meant for you, right? And Shalya was so impressed that at that time he just made one declaration that whoever has arranged these facilities for me, I'm ready to do anything for him. Okay, and at that time Duryodhan just walked in and said, okay, it was me, actually I have arranged it. Now being a Kshatriya, you have given your word, so you will have to fight for me. So you see this diplomatic nature of Duryodhan, right? How he just pulled Shalya to his own side. Okay, so Shalya was fighting from the side of Kauravas, and then another thing that we see, that he saw his brothers. So obviously Duryodhan and all the other Kauravas were his brothers, cousin brothers, right? So they were all there in the battlefield. Then son. Okay, so Duryodhana's son Lakshman, like he is mentioned, Prabhupada has mentioned in the purport, Lakshman. Lakshman was son of Duryodhana. Okay, so he was also like son of Arjuna as well, correct? So he was also there on the battlefield, and ultimately Lakshman was killed by Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu was son of Arjun, actually, right? So people like whom Arjun considered as his own son, they were also there on the battlefield. Then grandsons. So this Lakshman also had sons, and they were also there on the battlefield. So Arjun was like a grandfather for those uh, basically the sons of Lakshman, right? So they were also there. And then friends. So friends were Ashwathama and Jayadratha. Okay, so Jayadratha's story is also very interesting, which I'm going to tell right now. And he also saw his teachers, teachers like Dronacharya and Kripacharya. Okay, so just imagine so many family members standing against you in a battlefield. So obviously it was bewildering. It can be bewildering for anyone. Okay, so coming to Jayadratha. So Jayadratha is a very interesting character. He had two benedictions actually. Okay, and Jayadratha actually he was a competitor of Arjun in the Draupadi's Swayamvar. Okay, which obviously Arjun won. And he was actually mesmerized by the beauty of Draupadi. So much so that he also tried to abduct Draupadi when Pandavas were in the Agyatvas, or in the Vanvas, during the Vanvas actually. Okay, and he had two benedictions, so very important ones. One was that none of the Pandavas would be able to defeat Jayadratha except for Arjun. Okay, so only Arjun could kill or defeat Jayadratha in a fight. So that was one benediction. Second was that whoever made Jayadratha touch his head on the ground, the person who did that, his head will actually explode into 100 pieces. Okay. So this was a nice benediction to have. But this was a tricky situation for Pandavas as well, because just imagine if Arjun tries to kill Jayadratha, he will fall down on the ground, and then his head would touch the ground, and Arjun's head would explode into 100 pieces. So how to go about it? Okay. So uh, now uh, Arjun actually, how he managed to kill Jayadratha is also very interesting. Very tactfully he actually did that. Some of you might be knowing. For those who don't know, I would just like to narrate this incident also. So Jayadratha's father actually was actually sitting in a meditation. Okay, and at that time Arjun and Jayadratha were fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So Arjun shot an arrow, and that arrow actually beheaded Jayadratha, and his head actually fell on the lap of his father, who was sitting in meditation. So obviously his meditation was broken, and he saw a head on his lap. So what will be the first reaction? Right? Immediately he just threw away the head, from his lap actually. And when he threw away the head actually fell on the ground. And instead of Arjun's head, the Jayadratha's father's head actually exploded into 100 pieces. Right? So this is how tactfully Arjun managed to kill Jayadratha and his father simultaneously. Right? So after all these things, okay, now another learning which comes with this particular verse, that after seeing, especially if we see the example of Shalya, how people are switching the parties. Okay, Jayadratha, who used to be a kind of somewhat friendly towards the Pandavas, he actually fought for Kauravas, ended up fighting for Kauravas, right? So what lessons do we derive? Okay, the lessons that can be derived from this particular verse is that no relationship in this material world is permanent. Okay, all our loved ones, our friends, our relatives, or the near and dear ones, they will actually someday or the other they will leave us. Okay, either they will break the relationship and go away, or they will quit their bodies and go away. Okay, but these relationships will ultimately come to an end. Okay, because no relationship in this material world is permanent. This material world itself is temporary. Okay, dukhalayam ashashvatam. That's what we have learned, right? So now the question arises that if everything is temporary, then isn't there a single relationship which is permanent? And answer is yes. And that relationship is our relationship with Krishna. Okay. Our relationship with Krishna is always permanent. And Krishna, as I have said earlier, is seated as Paramatma in our hearts. And he actually remains with us permanently. Okay. Like lifetime after lifetime. When the spirit soul actually quits one body, it has to take another body, right? It transmigrates from one body to another. Correct? So once we quit this body, we will take up another body, and we will get another set of people, who will be our relatives, our friends, and our near and dear ones, right? And this change actually goes on and on. This is an eternal process that has been going on since time immemorial, correct? But there is one personality who is always constant, in all these different relationships, in all these different, people who are around us, and that is Krishna. He will always be there with us, whether we are in a body of a human, whether we are in the body of a demigod, whether we are in a body of a pig or a mosquito. Okay, so this is a great learning to have, and it's also very, very comforting. Okay, that Krishna is the Suhrid, or the eternal well-wisher of all the living entities, right? In the 5th chapter, he says, Suhridam Sarva Bhutana, right? That I am the eternal well-wisher of all the living entities. Okay, so always keep this in mind, and always try to meditate on this fact that people will come and go, but Krishna will always stay with us, lifetime after lifetime. Okay, and if we are able to break this cycle of life, death, and rebirth, then we will be residing together with Krishna. Okay, so very nice verse this is, and we will move on to the next one. Who can go next? Shweta Mataji, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhu.
Just repeat after me, then read the purport and translation and the purport.
Sure, Prabhuji.
तान् समीक्षस्य स कौन्तेयः
तान् समीक्षस्य स कौन्तेय
सर्वान् बन्धून् अवस्थितान्
सर्वान् बन्धून् अवस्थितान्
कृपया परयाविष्टो
कृपया परयाविष्टो
विषीदन्निदमब्रवीत्
विषीधान् इदम् अब्रवीत्. Prabhuji, I went with English readings.
Yeah, no worries, Mataji. I am actually comfortable with the Devanagari part, so I just...
Yeah, okay, fine.
Okay, you can read the...
Yeah, it has only translation.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
So, yeah. Thank you so much, Mataji. So we had seen in this, in the earlier verses also, that Krishna very well knew that what is going on within the mind of Arjun, and he was fully aware of this fact. Okay, that at one point of time, this personality will actually break down, and he will, express his desire of not fighting this battle. Okay, so this is the first symptom that we see in Arjun, that his heart was filled with compassion. Okay, so this is now another very interesting story will come up. Okay, and this particular session is actually full of stories actually. So see, Arjun was a very great warrior. Okay, he was a stalwart. We have seen that he was a Maharathi, and Maharathi was, is someone that who can fight 10,000 charioteers or 10,000 opponents at the same time on the battlefield. Okay, so just imagine that with that kind of like military skill. Okay, and his mind was completely controlled. We have seen that he had went to different planetary systems and had fought with different celestial beings and have won over them, and in the process he had actually acquired many celestial weapons, right? So such kind of personality, like how he can be overcome by compassion. This is one question that keeps that should come in the mind of everyone. Okay, and also another very important point to note, as I was saying earlier, that this is not the first time that Arjun was standing in front of these people in a battlefield. Against these people in front, in a battlefield. It had happened earlier. Almost everyone who is present in this battlefield of Kurukshetra against Pandavas, exactly same arrangement was there, some time back, and Arjun had defeated them all, right? And this actually happened during the Agyatwas. So Pandavas when they lost this game of dice to Kauravas, they were sent to 12 years of Vanvas and 1 year of Agyatwas. Okay, Agyatwas means they had to live in incognito. That means they had to live in disguise, right? No one should be able to, recognize them that they were Pandavas and they belong to the royal order. Okay, so that was the Agyatwas. And during that Agyatwas, what happened that Pandavas took shelter of King Virat. Okay, and Bhim became the main, cook in in the kingdom of King Virat, in basically palace of King Virat. Draupadi became a house help or a maid servant in that a maid servant of uh, king's daughter, basically. Okay, King Virat's daughter. And Yudhishthir also took some position over there. Nakul and Sahadev actually started taking care of the horses of the king. And Arjun took the role of the dance teacher of the daughter of King Virat. Okay, so in this way, these Pandavas were perfectly disguised. No one was able to recognize them as Pandavas, and they were living peacefully in the kingdom of King Virat. Okay, so once it so happened that and this King Virat had a son. His name was Uttar Kumar. Okay, and this Uttar Kumar was a big time motor mouth. Okay, like he used to just you know kept on glorifying himself. Okay, that I can do this, I can do that, and in reality, he was nothing actually. And another very important characteristic feature of this particular personality, Uttar Kumar, was that he was constantly surrounded by very beautiful women. Actually, yeah. And in front of them, he used to boast that, "Oh, look, I can fight like this, and I can, I know to use this weapon like this, and I can do hand-to-hand combat like this, and all those things, right?" And these women were very impressed, and they were also always praising him. "Oh, you are so strong, and you are so handsome, and all those things, right?" So you can imagine what kind of personality this was. Okay, so what happened once that the Kauravas, they attacked the kingdom of King Virat. Okay, and they chose a very nice time because King Virat was away for some personal work or maybe some kingdom related work. He was not there in his kingdom at that time. So everyone actually went to Uttar Kumar, right? Because he was the son of king. So just they asked him to fight. So, so all the ladies who used to surround him, they became very cheerful. Yeah, wow! Now we will finally get to see you fight. Come on, let's go. Like that. They were very energetic, right? But this Uttar Kumar, he knew that he doesn't know how to fight. He doesn't even know how to use a sword properly. What to speak about fighting a real opponent on the battlefield, right? So he started finding some excuses, okay, that I can't go. So after giving a thought for some time, he started giving one excuse that okay, I can go to the battlefield and fight, but then there is no charioteer, there is no chariot driver available in this kingdom right now. So how will I fight? So at that time, Draupadi told her Uttar Kumar's sister that your dance teacher, who was actually Arjun, Draupadi said that he is a very good charioteer. So if you want, you can take his help. So immediately, Uttar Kumar's sister brought Arjun to him, and she said that okay, he is a very good charioteer. You can take him. And now he had nowhere to go. Right, there was no escape for him. He had to go to the battlefield, and all the ladies were cheering that yes, yes, go, go. We want to see you, fight and all those things. So Arjun became the charioteer of Uttar Kumar. Uttar Kumar sat on the chariot, and Arjun took him to the battlefield. When they reached the battlefield, they saw an ocean of army of Kauravas, standing in front. And when Uttar Kumar saw that kind of an military arrangement, he almost fainted. And immediately he asked Arjun that, okay, take a U-turn and just let's go away from here. Okay. So Arjun took a U-turn, and like after going certain distance, he stopped and said, like, why, what happened? Why are you not fighting now? Okay. So at that time, Uttar Kumar made this confession that look, whatever I say, I just self glorify myself. It's a complete lie. I don't know how to fight. I can't even fight in training matches. What to say, what to speak about fighting in a real battlefield. Okay. So at that time, Arjun said that, okay, don't worry, I know how to fight, but I will need a charioteer, in that, a chariot driver or a charioteer in that case. Okay. So you tell me one thing for sure. Do you know how to drive a chariot? Okay. So Uttar Kumar said, yes, yes, I know how to drive a chariot. So Arjun asked, are you sure? So yeah, this time I'm not kidding. I know. I'm a decent chariot driver, so I can, drive the chariot. No problems there. So then Arjun and Uttar Kumar, they switched the positions. Uttar Kumar came onto the front of the chariot and Arjun sat on the chariot and he said that, okay, now take me towards a tree. He pointed towards a tree. So they all went towards that tree, both of them. And there, from the root, near the root of that tree, Arjun actually, he was hiding all his, celestial weapons. His Gandiva bow was there, right? He took them out and then he came back to the battlefield and he defeated each and every single Kaurava who was present there, right? So we see that this is not the first time that Arjun was standing on the battlefield of Kurukshetra against his, uh, relatives, right? Exactly same arrangement was there a few years back, and Arjun had defeated all of them, without being overcome by any compassion or any lamentation at that time. Okay. So now question arises that what happened this time? Why was Arjun overcome by compassion now? Okay. And the answer is that this was Krishna's plan. Actually, to make Arjun bewildered, to make Arjun full of compassion, so that he can give the instructions for this entire mankind through Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So this is, like a very important learning from this particular verse. And another learning which we can get, very, very important learning that which we can get from this verse is that ups and downs will be there in everyone's life. Okay, no one is exempt from this particular, these two phases, because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says that, that good times and bad times, they are just like appearance and disappearance of summer and winter season. Okay. And an intelligent person should learn to tolerate them. Okay. That this is what we can do, right? Because this place is a dukhalayam and ashashvatam. It's full of miseries and it is always, continuously changing, actually, right? So we cannot be always happy, and at the same time we cannot always be in trouble, or we cannot always go through a low phase in our lives. Okay, this ups and downs will be continuously be there. And if a personality like Arjun, he has to go through a low phase in the life, then who are we, right? We have to ask this question. So during the low phases of our life, Bhagavad Gita will teach us how to deal with it. Okay, this is a very important lesson that we have to learn. And that is the reason why we insist so much on reading Bhagavad Gita each and every day, right? Because once you read it over and over again, only then all the verses will be there in our minds, and only then we will be able to implement these in our real life, okay, in our day-to-day lives. Otherwise, if we just casually read it once or maybe twice, then it's of no use. It's just like reading any other novel, okay? So it's not that. Like, it's a best life manual that we can get. And Krishna himself took the trouble of giving this life manual to us. So why not utilize it? Okay. So this is a very nice learning that we can get from this. And another important thing is why Krishna uses the word Kaunteya, right? So Kaunteya, by using this word Kaunteya, Krishna is actually indirectly reminding Arjun that, okay, you are the son of Kunti. Okay. And Kunti is sister of my father Vasudev, right? And Vasudev is a real Kshatriya. So if he is a real Kshatriya, then your mother is also a Kshatriya. And because your mother is a Kshatriya, you are also a Kshatriya. So all this compassion, lamentation, soft-heartedness, kind-heartedness, these actually are not the qualities of a true Kshatriya. So just be a true Kshatriya and fight, okay, rather than being consumed by these kind of emotions. This is what Krishna is trying to convey in this particular verse. So there's just one more verse which is left for us. Let's go through that, and then we will open the floor for question and answers.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Yeah. How are you doing, Prabhuji, now?
I'm good. I'm good, Mataji now. Almost good. Almost recovered
Yes,
now.
good. I have Nilesh, going through the sessions today. So he can
Yeah,
just read
I,
few shlokas.
I saw him. Very nice. Very
Yeah,
nice to
yeah.
see. Okay, so
He has a summer holidays, so I was like, please attend the sessions till the holidays are going on at least.
yeah, at least this is
Yeah.
a best utilization of this time actually. Thank you so much for bringing them, Mataji. Thank you so much. Okay, so who else can read now? Rupesh Prabhu, would you like to read? Or Sridevi? Yeah,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I try reading?
yeah, please, yeah, please go ahead. Okay, so just I will read the shloka. You just repeat after me, and once we are done reciting the shloka, you can read the translation and the purport. Okay?
Can I try reciting it on my own?
Absolutely. I will be more than happy to do that. Thank you so much. Yeah, please go ahead.
Arjuna uvacha drishtve swajanam Krishna yuyutsum samasthitam siddhanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishishyati. Translate.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Wonderful. That was absolutely marvelous. Okay, so you read the translation and the purport.
Translation. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. Purport. Any man who has genuine devotion to the Lord has all the good qualities which are found in godly persons or in the demigods. Whereas the non devotee, however advanced he may be in material qualifications by education and culture, lacks in godly qualities. As such, Arjuna, just after seeing his kinsmen, friends, and relatives on the battlefield, was at once overwhelmed by compassion for them who had so decided to fight amongst themselves. As far as the soldiers were concerned, he was sympathetic from the beginning, but he felt compassion even for the soldiers of the opposite party, foreseeing their imminent death. And while he was so thinking, the limbs of his body began to quiver and his mouth became dry. He was more or less astonished to see their fighting spirit. Practically the whole community, all blood relatives of Arjuna, had come to fight with him. This overwhelmed a kind devotee like Arjuna. Although it is not mentioned here, still one can easily imagine that not only were Arjuna's bodily limbs quivering and his mouth drying up, but he was also crying out of compassion. Such symptoms in Arjuna were not due to weakness but to his soft heartedness, a characteristic of a pure devotee of the Lord. It is said, therefore, Yasyati Bhakti Bhagavati Akinchana Sarve Gunas Tatra Samasate Sura Hara Bhavaktasya Kuto Mahadguna Manoratena Sati Dhavato Bahi. One who has unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigods. But one who is not a devotee of the Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material energy. Bhagavad
Thank you.
Canto 18, chapter 12 verse. Harish.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prabhu. And so wonderful recitation, Prabhu. Even the reference shloka that you recited was very wonderful. Really nice to see. I'm very happy, to see such young people coming up. Okay. Now, this is also a very wonderful verse, and I think the purport itself says a lot, actually. So we will first look into the purport. Okay. So what is said in this particular verse is that devotees of Krishna develop all the qualities of demigods. Okay. So we'll first see the reference which Srila Prabhupada is giving, and or rather, let's see first, the compassion part of Arjun, right? We can see in the purport, Prabhupada has clearly mentioned that he was sympathetic for his soldiers from the beginning. Obviously, like when if a battle is about to take place, then no, obviously we will be more concerned about our soldiers, right? That okay, they are going to they may lose their lives, okay, and they might get injured. So there is a lot of risk there, right? Whenever someone is on the battlefield. So it's quite obvious for someone to be concerned about the soldiers of their party, right? But here we see that Arjun was not only compassionate about soldiers on his side, but he was also compassionate about the soldiers from the opposite side, right? Because he saw their imminent death. Okay, and uh, so this was one aspect, that he was very compassionate towards even the soldiers. What to speak about his blood relatives who were there on the field. Okay, so and what Prabhupada is saying, that this was not because of the weakness, but because of the soft-heartedness, which is a characteristic of a pure devotee, right? That means these all characteristics, like devotees of Krishna, they develop all the good qualities of demigods, actually. Okay, and in non-devotees, these qualities they don't manifest. Okay, so the shloka which Prabhupada is quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 18th chapter, and shloka number 12. So we'll just see the word by word translation of that particular shloka. And I have the translation here with me. I'll just read it out for all of you. All the demigods and their exalted qualities, such as religion, knowledge, renunciation, become manifest in the body of who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. Okay. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities, even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or on or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives. He must be driven by his own mental speculation and must engage in the service of Lord's external energy, which is Maya. Okay. Uh, how can there be any good qualities in such a man? So this is what this particular reference verse actually says, and the sum and substance of this particular verse, okay, and including the purport, is that devotees of Krishna are known as paradukha dukhi, right? That means when they see someone in distress, or when they see someone in some sort of a trouble or unhappiness, they themselves become very sad and very unhappy. Okay, they can't even kill an ant, what to speak of killing a human being. Okay, and Arjun was standing in front in the battlefield, and all the blood relatives were standing against him. Okay, so obviously he was overwhelmed with compassion. Okay, so all the good qualities are there in everyone. Okay, this is a very important learning to see, that it's not that the good qualities are not there in the materialistic people. Okay, it's just that they haven't manifested themselves. Okay, so all the good qualities are there in everyone, but for a non-devotees, these qualities remain covered. Okay, we see that since these materialistic people, they are acting on a mental platform, so they are actually attracted by Lord's external energy, which is the Maya energy, right? And Maya actually has 5 pahalwans with her. Okay, so we have to continuously wrestle with these 5 pahalwans. Okay, and what are these 5 pahalwans? These are lust, anger, greed, illusion, pride, and enviousness. Kam, krodh, lobh, moh, mad, matsare. Okay, these 5 things, and any one of these 5 things is actually strong enough to make us fall down from our spiritual position. Okay, but just imagine our pathetic situation that we have to face all 5 of these at the same time. Okay, and that too in the age of Kali Yuga, with a short attention span and very less intelligence. It's extremely difficult and extremely challenging, to overcome these 5 big wrestlers of Maya, right? It can be only done if we take shelter of Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, so when a devotee is chanting Hare Krishna, their hearts are cleansed of this dirt naturally. Okay, all these 5 things: lust, anger, greed, illusion, pride, enviousness, they simply go away from the heart of a pure devotee when he starts chanting Hare Krishna. In the Sikshastakam also, Lord Chaitanya has said, Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhav Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. Cheto Darpana Marjanam means that he is actually comparing our hearts to a mirror. Okay, just like a mirror which is covered with dust, you are not able to see anything. We are not able to see even our own reflection in a mirror which is covered with dust. But when we start chanting Hare Krishna, that dust from our heart is cleansed, and the actual Paramatma in our heart is manifest. People are able to see that Paramatma aspect within their hearts, okay, very clearly after that. So when that happens, obviously all the good qualities of demigods will manifest in that devotee. And this is what exactly we are seeing in this case, in this particular verse, that Arjun is very compassionate. This compassion is not because of his weakness or cowardice. It is just because he is a pure devotee. And, pure devotees, they can't even kill an ant. So what to speak of killing a human being? Okay. So this is a very nice lesson that we can learn from this verse, that just by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we can get our hearts cleansed, and we can just overcome all the, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya, which is there in our hearts. So I'd like to pause here now. This brings an end to our session today. Floor is now open for question and answers. Anything which all of you would like to share, or any questions that you have, I'll be more than happy to answer them. And yes, anything, go ahead. Absolutely silent. Either you have understood everything or you were sleeping. What should I consider? Okay, at least share some realizations. If there are no questions, then please share some realizations. Do you want this session to be in a different way, or you are liking this format? Anything, any suggestions are also welcome. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. I had one question about Madhuri. We never heard about it in Mahabharata when we were watching, or never. So what happened to her?
Yeah, it was there. So actually, what happened? So Madhuri was the second wife of Pandu. Okay.
Mhm.
So now Pandu, actually, he was there was a curse actually on Pandu. Actually, that if he unites with any one of his wife, he will die immediately. And uh, that happened actually eventually. It's difficult for householders to control themselves, and like he indulged in a physical relationship with one of his wives, and then he died. So when Pandu died, at that time there was a pratha called as Sati Pratha. All of you must be knowing that the wife also, like stepped into the funeral pyre, and burnt herself alive along with her husband. Okay. So both Kunti and Madri were preparing to do that. Okay. But Pandavas at that time were very small. Okay. And they needed at least the care of a mother. Okay. So at that time, Madri actually stepped forward, and she took that ownership that, okay, I will, step into the fire with my husband. And she requested Kunti that you please, stay with these Pandavas because they are very, very small. They need, the protection and love of a mother right now. If we both of us are gone, then it will be very difficult, to bring them up. So how will they be brought up, in such a situation? So this is the whole story of Madri. Nakul and Shahdev were actually her sons, and Yudhishthir, Bhim, and Arjun were the sons of Kunti. So did I answer your question, Mataji?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I didn't know about it. And one other question, which is, little different from what we, just general question. So every day we know that we face lots of challenges. Like, I think every day is a test for us. Krishna is testing us daily. We are, as you said, we are these pahalwans of Maya. They just keep coming from nowhere. I don't know. And we are thinking, I sometimes feel like, I don't know. We know Paramatma is in each and everybody's heart, but at some moments we forget and we kind of act like in anger, and later on we realize, okay, this is Krishna, he's maybe trying to teach us something. We should not react, but how do we remember and see Paramatma in each and every being, basically?
Yes.
We kind of forget. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, we tend to forget. So there are two things, two aspects to this question, Mataji. It's a very deep question. Thank you so much for asking. And I think the answer will clarify a lot of doubts in most of the people who are here. Okay. So first thing is that, what I mentioned, earlier, that the mind actually is the representative of Krishna. Indriyanam Manushasmi. That is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So of all the senses, I am the mind. So whatever, what to say, the heinous activities that we are doing, okay, these are all because of this uncontrolled mind. And in the Bhagavad Gita, at one place, Krishna also says that for a person whose mind is totally controlled, for him, the mind is the best friend, and an uncontrolled mind is the worst enemy of any person. Okay. So, because we are at a very grassroots level of devotional service, okay, we have just started our journey into spirituality, and that too in this age of Kali Yuga, it's very, very difficult, And as I mentioned, there are 5 Pahalwans which are ready to give us dhobi pachad every time, right? So it's very, very difficult to overcome with them, right? So the only way to overcome this particular situation is to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Right? Harer Naam, eva kevalam, kalo nastev gatiranyatha. Right? That means in this age of Kali Yuga, the only way to overcome the ill effects of Kali Yuga is to chant the names of Hari, is to chant the names of Hari, is to chant the names of Hari. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. Right? So be very particular and very attentive in your chanting. Try to be at least, and very, very serious. Take it very seriously. Do not miss chanting. Try to increase it over a period of time, right? I mean, once you are very serious in chanting, automatically your desire to chant will, manifest. Okay, you will start relishing the nectar in chanting the holy name, and automatically the number of rounds that you are chanting will go up. And once that starts happening, automatically these qualities will start manifesting. Okay, so that is the first part of your answer. Second is, you asked that how to see people with equal vision. That's what Bhagavad Gita says. Okay, so there is a very nice, beautiful sloka in the Bhagavad Gita. It says, Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Suni Chaiva Shapake Cha Pandita Samadarshina. That a learned person, person who is in full knowledge, okay, who is a self-realized person, that person sees a learned Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, and a dog eater, okay, with an equal vision. Okay. So now what does this mean? Okay, how is it possible? Some people are very good to us, so our behavior towards them is obviously it's going to be very good. Some people are actually our enemies, and we know that. So obviously how can we be very good towards them? Okay, I think this is what you tried to ask, Mataji, right? So we have to understand the essence of this particular verse. Okay, how to be samadarshi, towards each and every living entity. So the point is that we do not look at a person, in terms of the bodily features. Okay, that I am a man, this is a woman, this is a cow, this is a cat, this is a dog. Most of the people who are on mental platform or material platform, they actually identify themselves as body. Okay, that I am this body. And that is the reason why they actually have this difference of vision. When they see, that difference can be based on gender, that difference can be based on nationality, that difference can be based on the kind of body that I am having. Okay, whether I'm having a body of a human or whether someone is having some animal or a plant or something like that. Okay, so this samadarshina means that you have to first learn to see everyone on the platform of spirit soul. Okay, that I am the spirit soul, this is my body. Similarly, person standing is also a jivatma. That person might be having a body of a woman. Okay, this little insect is also a jivatma. It might be having a body of an insect. Okay, due to its past life karma, it is having this kind of a body. So now, being samdarshina means, what can I do for this living entity? You have to meditate on this fact, that what can I do for this living entity so that it goes back home, back to Godhead. Okay. Now, my behavior, that this doesn't necessarily mean that my behavior towards that living entity is going to change. Okay. For example, if someone is say a cow, for example, okay, I cannot bring a cow to this session like this and recite Srimad Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. That cow is not going to benefit anything out of it, right? It will not understand, or a dog will not benefit anything out of it. So what can I do for that dog or a cow so that it goes back home, back to Godhead? So one thing I can do is that I can feed them Krishna Prasad, right? So by feeding Krishna Prasad, what will happen if that Prasad has been offered with full love and dedication and devotion towards Lord Krishna? When this particular animal quits the body, it will immediately go back to Vaikuntha. Okay, or if it's that kind of pure dedication is very rare in this age of Kali Yuga. So at least what will happen is that in the next lifetime, it will immediately get a human form. Okay, and in the human form, it will get a chance, to realize Krishna, to follow Krishna consciousness, and ultimately go back home, back to Krishna. Okay, so similarly, if you see, like for example, someone who is trying to harm us, someone who is our enemy, that doesn't mean that I'll have to show any compassion towards them. Yes, if they are atatais, there are a list of 6 people who are called atatais that has been given in the Bhagavad Gita. We'll see that later. Okay, and they can be killed. They have to be killed. Okay, so our behavior should not be changed for that. Okay, for example, a person who has committed a murder. Okay, that person has to be punished by the law. Okay, because by giving that punishment, what we are doing is that we are ensuring that he will have to suffer less in the hellish planetary systems, and again in the next life he will get a human form and he will try to reform himself and go back home, back to Godhead, right? So even if you take the example of Arjun, right, like after hearing the Bhagavad Gita, what did he do? He did not went like just gave up fighting and went back to the forest and started meditating, right? He remained a Kshatriya and he fought in the battle. He killed all his enemies. Okay, so when we say that you have to be samdarshi towards all the living entities, it doesn't mean that your behavior towards them has to change, right? It's just your consciousness, your thought process towards them has to be changed. That first, that you start looking them on the platform of a spirit soul. That here is a spirit soul, and I'm also a spirit soul. We both are embarking on the same journey. So what can I do for this person that he or she goes back home, back to Godhead? Okay. So this, if you inculcate, then I think problem will be solved, and things will fall into place. But to reach that platform, it's very important that you take your chanting very seriously and always chant Hare Krishna. Okay, so by doing that, it will happen. So did I answer your question, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, but I think the crux is chanting will help only. I mean, only chanting can give all the illusion away, and you'll get more and more clarity and that kind of vision. But just another question is quick question: how to develop more and more taste in chanting? I'm regular at chanting, but I want to increase my rounds. I'm remembering Krishna in all the low times, good times. Every time he's there, morning, night, he's there in my mind. But how to develop that taste and to increase my rounds?
Association. So there are 2 things, Mataji. Okay, so association and prayers. Okay, so first pray with full heart and soul that okay, Krishna, all I want is just you. I just want to relish your taste, the names, relish the taste of your names. Okay, so please help me. My mind is very restless. It's just running around, and I am not able to control. So I just give up. Just think of Draupadi. What did she do when that Vastraharan was very hard, and that's exactly what we are also doing. We also try to control, a lot of times that every situation we try to control. Okay, but then ultimately when she saw that Dusashan is way too strong and it's not possible for her, and all the seniors are also not saying anything, she simply raised her hand and Govinda, Govinda. She just started, praying to him with all her, what to say, love and affection. She started calling him. Okay, and then actually Krishna came, and after that whole incident happened, what Draupadi actually went to Krishna and asked that since you were there present in this Hastinapur, this palace of Hastinapur, why didn't you come and save me earlier, right? So at that time, Krishna said that how could I come? Initially, you were just asking help from Dhritarashtra, you were asking help from, Dronacharya, you were asking help from Bhishma Pitama, you never came to me. The moment you started calling me, I came and I saved you, right? So that should be the attitude that first we have to realize our weakness, that we are very weak, we cannot control anything. Okay, and with that mindset, we should surrender fully to Krishna and then pray. Okay, so that is one aspect. Just pray with your full heart and soul that okay, Krishna, my mind is restless, I am not able to control it. Please help me. Okay, and please give me the taste in your names. That is one thing. Second is the association of devotees. Okay, if you try to do this alone, Maya is way too strong. She is stronger than these 5 Pahlwans. She is the ultimate Pahlwan. Okay, so there is no way you can defeat her, Mataji. So you have to have the association, because best example is Bharat Maharaj, right? He went to the forest alone and he reached the stage of Bhava. Bhava is the second last stage. Actually attracted to a deer cub. Okay, at the time of death, he actually thought of that deer, and then he had to take a I think I lost the connection in between. So Bharat Maharaj had to take a body of the deer, actually, right? Have to be very careful, that be in the association of devotees and be very honest with your chanting. Very uh, like deeply to Krishna, that help me out, and then Krishna will take care. I mean, you just take one step towards him, he will run 1,000 steps towards you, right? So I hope I answered your question, Mataji.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, Nilesh Prabhu is raising his hand for a long time. Prabhu, please go ahead and ask your question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I didn't have any question. I just wanted to share my experience of the first class that I had with you. Like, you're a great mentor and teacher, and I feel really privileged to be having such a great teacher under whom I'm gaining experience and being guided by. And short stories which give more detail and depth information and more understanding about the main storyline of Bhagavad Gita is much more inspiring. So
Yeah.
thank you for that, and I'll try to attend more classes if like summer holidays are going on, so I don't think it should be a problem right now. But during school, I'll try my best to attend more classes.
No, thank you so much, Prabhu. I am very fortunate to have you here in this session. The way you recited the shlokas were absolutely outstanding. Right? Please continue to do what you are doing, and you are progressing nicely. Okay, and yes, try to attend the sessions. Even I'll be very, very happy to have you here. Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu, and wonderful realizations. Thank you. Hare Krishna. I saw Sridevi Mataji raising her hand some time back. Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
I couldn't attend the 2 to 3 classes, if I'm not wrong, because I was not in India. I had gone abroad for on a company requirement. So I really missed the association. I was thinking that due to my absence, I may come out of this group or what. I was that worried. I couldn't connect. Hope I am not going to miss further. I don't know. I had that feeling that I'm missing a lot because that the association in Hyderabad is very difficult because I don't find anybody near to my place who are Krishna devotee. So that's again what do you call a craving in me. I'm not seeing the places who pray Lord Krishna. So I don't know how to come out of that. I feel a little depressed.
No, that's not a problem, Mataji. I think this is the reason why we have this, Zoom sessions, for devotees like you. Basically, all the devotees who are living in faraway places, not just in Bangalore, but all over India, right? If due to some reasons, they find it really difficult or challenging to, give a physical presence in the temples or the centers, in the ISKCON centers. So for them, it is, a very good platform that ISKCON Whitefield. I'm very thankful to ISKCON Whitefield that they have started sessions like these. And I personally also feel that technology can do wonders. It did wonders at the time of Srila Prabhupada also. I think he utilized the technology in a very, very, what to say, innovative way. We have all his recorded lectures, we have all his videos, right? So enough guidance is there from Prabhupada himself, right? So, and over a period of time, technology has advanced. So it has become even better. So it hardly makes any difference right now. Okay, so try to find a ISKCON center which is near to your house. If it is not possible at all, then please, keep attending these sessions. And you have not missed much, Mataji, because I think 2 times we had to cancel the session itself, right? Because I was not keeping well, and it was a very hectic month, as I said earlier, right? Last month was very, very hectic. So not much has been missed, but yes, please try attending the sessions. And thank you so much for.
Prabhuji. And one more request, Prabhuji, that the Bangalore Kannamangala branch where we have the ISKCON center, on Sundays we have the the session from the Prabhuji. So is it possible? Can there be a live stream, Prabhuji, for people who are available?
Yeah, live stream is happening. So I'll share the ISKCON channel. ISKCON Whitefield Congregation is the name of the channel. I'll share it on the WhatsApp group. Okay. So all of you can, like those who are not in Bangalore or those who are residing very far away, you can just tune in, to that channel every Sunday, and we have a guest speaker in the Sunday feast every day. And tomorrow, not next coming Sunday, I think it will be my turn to speak, right? So I'll be there. So all of you can tune in and you can just watch the live stream. You can give your comments. You can give likes to the videos, right? And it will help us to make more presence on the social media platform. Yeah, we can do that.
Sure. Thank you so much. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, Ishita Mataji has raised her hand. Please go ahead, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji, and Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Devi Mataji was mentioning that it's sometimes it's difficult to find the company of devotees where we can, increase the round of chanting. Exactly, this is what I was going through when I was living in Kannamangala when I was in Bangalore. So
Okay.
yes, I am also currently in Hyderabad.
Okay.
Yes, it is difficult, but yes, like you mentioned, Prabhuji, this technology, since we are using it for everything, this is the best thing that I use this technology for to know more about Krishna consciousness.
Absolutely.
Now, I do not really have a question for the session, but one realization that I have had is from the time I have started taking this session, it all started from a YouTube channel, simple YouTube channel. I was asked by one of the devotees where I was staying in Kannamangala, in one of the communities. It was her daughter's birthday.
Okay.
And there was some Prabhuji who came. I don't really remember because I wasn't conscious enough at that point in time. And when I went there, I heard him speaking. I heard him. I was little late thinking that kya hi ho raha hoga, puja ho raha hoga, thinking like that. So, but when I reached there, when I heard this, when I heard Prabhuji speaking, it was great. I was really surprised to see. Okay, there are some people who have thoughts on a different line, and the inquisitiveness increased by Krishna's blessings, and I started learning from an online channel called Maya Ashraya.
Yeah. That's a very nice channel, Mataji. Yeah.
So, of course, it is non-interactive. That was something that I was craving for. When I was moving to a different city from Bangalore, I was told by one of the Matajis there in Bangalore that, okay, there has been a Bhakti center that has opened near Kannamangala. It's very close to where I used to stay, the apartment that I used to stay. So that was my journey. I was like I would have spoken about this earlier. I was a pakka non-believer. I won't say that I was atheist. I used to practice meat eating. I used to think कि ठीक है भगवान अपनी जगह है धूपबत्ती हो गया है घर पे मम्मी ने कर दिया है बस उतना ही है. But from that time, I don't know what blessings Krishna have given me and made me this fortunate that I have come this far, that I am able to stand 2 rounds. The more I listen to it, even during my evening walks, I try to put on some channels or some podcasts of some Swamijis or Prabhujis. So I constantly listen to it.
Very
Now,
nice. Very nice.
professionally, I was given a business coach by my organization so that I can evolve professionally. And the business coach always tried to help me by saying that you may want to respond and not react. And I was struggling on that part. Of course, that coach part, theek hai. But from the time I started taking these sessions, especially these interactive sessions, what I found was whenever I'm in a difficult situation or I know I'm going to snap, I will just speak Hare Krishna and continuously I'll start chanting inside. Even if it's audible outside, I'm just chanting it continuously inside to bless me with that good mindset so that I'm able to handle that situation in a better way.
Yes.
Fortunately, this has brought me to a level where I can I can see that I have a much, much better family atmosphere. Like, I understand my services, and there is no constant fight of professions between a husband and a wife, because it's a very, very different and a pure relationship, which I have understood.
Hmm.
I
No, no, I
also
think,
try to be a little,
yeah, these are
little
all
better
effects.
mother.
These are all side effects, actually, Mataji. We generally don't speak about what chanting can do on the material platform, but like having a calm mind, and as you said, that you have to respond, not react, right? So that
Yeah,
kind of mentality will come with proper chanting. Okay, and as you said, and you are experiencing it, right? And it seems that
that's
I have also felt that personally, that Krishna himself intervenes and takes away all our professional problems. At least we will not be, professionally we will not be very bogged down with unnecessary workload. And actually Krishna takes care that you will be able to finish your work on time, and he helps actually. So these are all
that's true,
the
Kamalan.
byproducts that we get. But spiritually, I think words are simply not enough to describe that what kind of gains that all of us are making. Even if you chant one round of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, so that particular one round will stand as a witness, when you are standing in front of Yamaraj. Okay, that okay, this is my person, and this person has chanted one round. So just think of Ajamil, like he actually called out Narayan. Okay, and he didn't call out Lord Narayan. He called out for his son. Correct. He didn't call out with a feeling of love and affection towards Lord Narayan. He, cried Narayan out of fear because he was, at his deathbed, and he was seeing Yamduta standing in front of him. And so just imagine that he didn't call out the Lord. He didn't call out in devotion, right? And still, actually, Narayan sent Vishnu Dutas and actually saved Ajamil, right? So just think that if we are doing it with full love and affection, we are actually calling out to Krishna, right? Then just imagine how much Krishna is going to help us. So these are just side effects that we not side effects, the byproducts that we get, the material benefit aspect. As devotees, we don't focus much on that. We focus more on spiritual advancement. And another thing that I liked about your realization is that you said that you were almost a non-devotee before coming to Krishna consciousness. Okay, and then suddenly it happened. So similar was the case with the devotees, the devotees like initial followers, who became the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, right? If you go through the biography of Srila Prabhupada, like initial disciples were the hippies who were, the part of that counterculture, okay, that was going on. And all the four regulative principles that we follow, they completely shattered all the four of them. Okay. They were into meat eating, they were into intoxication, always drunk, LSD, drugs, and whatnot. Okay, they were just lying down in the drains. Okay, so meat eating is gone, intoxication is gone, gambling, always, they used to indulge in gambling and illicit sex. I mean, I don't even want to talk about that, right? So this was a situation, at that time. But they became, very ardent disciples and very nice devotees of disciples of Prabhupada and devotees of Lord Sri Krishna. So one of the devotees, he asked Prabhupada once that how is it possible that we were not even qualified, to become a devotee? How come, in the Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned that for a person whose all the pap karmas and punya karmas have been destroyed, only they take to Krishna consciousness. Okay. So that devotee asked that, you see, I have zero qualification. I am completely, I was lying on the streets and somehow I just became a devotee. So how can I believe that all my karmas have been destroyed or all my karmas have been burnt up? Correct? So Prabhupada said that I have made a fortune. Okay. So always remember that if you have come to Krishna consciousness, it's just because some devotee must have prayed for you. If you are able to practice your bhakti very nicely, that means some devotee is always continuously praying for you. Okay. So we should be very thankful. And to that anonymous devotee, we should always try to pray back to Krishna. Okay. That whoever has prayed for me, Krishna, please help him or her in, making nice progress in on the path of spirituality. Okay. Yeah. Very nice realization, Mataji. Thank you so much. Okay, so I think we are a little bit of overtime now. So I would like to end the session. But yeah, it was a very nice interactive session, some very beautiful realizations shared, very beautiful questions asked. So yeah, all of you, please do tune in every week for this session. It's going to be very interactive like this only. I'll try to make it more and more interesting, as Prabhuji was mentioning, that he liked the story aspect, that that gives us a clear picture of where we are heading, a broader context of the Bhagavad Gita, basically. So, and we have not yet started. I mean, this first chapter is just an introduction, or rather, first 5 chapters are just introductions, or very heavy concepts are not there. Actual concepts will start coming later, later on. So we are on a long journey because we are just on the first chapter. Try to bring in, as many people as possible. I was very happy to see, such a big attendance today, and just if we are able to keep that up, then I think nothing better than that. And Sri Devi Mataji and Ichita Mataji, for you, I think I'll share this ISKCON Whitefield channel on this WhatsApp group. Okay. We have live streams of Sunday Feast every Sunday. Okay, so you can just tune into that and you can watch it live. Actually, we have guest speakers every Sunday coming to our Kannamangala center, so you can just follow them. Okay, from there. Okay, so with that, I would like to end the session now. Thank you so much, all. Hare Krishna.